Silence. Not the silence of peace, but the silence that screams. The silence that follows a man when he realizes he's living a lie. That he's breathing, but not living. Walking, but not arriving. Talking, but saying nothing that matters. This is the kind of silence that cuts deep, because it exposes the hardest truth of all. You are not who you should be. You look in the mirror and recognize the face, but not the soul. You don't recognize the fire that should be there. You don't see the flame that God lit when He created you. You only see ash, remains of something that could have been, but never was. And the voice inside you, the one that still insists on whispering in the middle of the night, says, "Bro, this ain't you. This isn't you. You weren't born like this. You weren't born tired. You weren't born giving up. You weren't born accepting crumbs when you were called to a feast. You were born with purpose, born with anointing, born to be more than this faded version you've become." But life came, routine came, comfort came, and you started believing the lie that this is your reality, that this is the only option, that this is just how it is. It's not. It never was. And deep down, you know it. Jesus looks at you, not with judgment, not with disappointment, but with that holy sadness of someone who sees a child trapped in a cell with the door wide open. He knows. He's always known. He saw you when you were still in the womb. He formed you. He placed something inside you that the world cannot erase. But you let the world convince you that it doesn't matter, that it doesn't exist, that it's better to be safe than holy, better to be comfortable than convicted. And now, here you are, living a life that isn't yours, wearing a mask that wasn't made for you, following a script that wasn't written for you. And every morning, when you wake up, you feel that weight, that certainty that something is wrong, that you're wasting something precious, something that will never come back. Time, purpose, life. But you're afraid to try and fail, afraid to fight and lose, afraid to give everything and still not be enough. So you choose the easier option. Don't try. Stay where you are. Survive instead of live. And you convince yourself that this is wisdom, that this is maturity, that this is realism. It's cowardice. It's betrayal. Betrayal of the calling God placed inside you. Because you weren't called to survive. You were called to win. You weren't called to hide. You were called to shine. You weren't called to accept darkness. You were called to be light. And that light doesn't come from you. It comes from Him, from the only one who can transform ash into fire, weakness into strength, defeat into glory. Jesus Christ didn't die on the cross for you to live mediocre. He didn't bleed for you to stay comfortable. He didn't carry the nails for you to carry excuses. He went to Calvary to destroy everything that held you back, to break every chain, to open every door, to give you access to the impossible. And you're wasting it. You're letting His sacrifice become decoration in your life instead of revolution. The cross wasn't comfortable. The cross wasn't easy. The cross wasn't safe. It was violent. It was brutal. It was a massacre of love that tore the heavens and changed history forever. And that bloodshed, that broken body, was for you. It was to give you the right to stand up, to fight, to win, to live. But you chose something else. You chose the couch instead of the battle. You chose complaining instead of prayer. You chose distraction instead of direction. And now you're trapped in a life that wasn't made for you, trapped in a cycle that consumes you without taking you anywhere, trapped in a lie that says it's too late, that you've already missed your chance, that it's not worth trying. Lies, all lies, because while you breathe, there is hope. While there is hope, there is Christ. And while there is Christ, there is possibility of restart, of rebirth, of resurrection. You think Jesus doesn't know what exhaustion is, that He doesn't know what pain is, that He doesn't know what it's like to carry an impossible burden. He knows. He carried the cross. He carried the sin of the entire world. He carried shame, rejection, betrayal, loneliness. He knows exactly what it's like, and still, He didn't give up, even when He had the chance to stop, even when He had the chance to call legions of angels to save Him. He chose to continue. Because He knew that on the other side of the cross was redemption, was victory, was you. And now He calls you to leave this comfort zone that slowly kills you, calls you to drop the weak version of yourself and embrace who He created you to be, calls you to stop living as a victim and start living as a victor, because that's what you are, not because of your own strength, not because of talent, but because of Him, because of grace, because of the blood. You weren't made to be weak, you were made to be strong. You weren't made to be defeated. You were made to be victorious. You weren't made to live on crumbs. You were made to live in abundance. And that abundance isn't about money. It's not about fame. It's about living with purpose, with passion, with presence, with the certainty that your life matters because it was bought with blood. But you have to choose. God won't force you. Jesus won't make you. He already did his part, already paid the price, already opened the way. Now it's up to you to walk. It's up to you to stand up. It's up to you to say, enough. This is no longer me. This is not who I am. I wasn't born for this. You were born for war, for battle, for victory. And war isn't comfortable. It's not easy. It's not popular. It's lonely. It's painful. It's bloody. But it's necessary. Because without war, there's no conquest. Without fight, there's no reward. Without cross, there's no crown. And here's the truth few understand. You're going to die anyway. That's reality. One day your heart will stop beating. Your lungs will stop breathing. Your story here will end. And when that happens, you won't care anymore because you'll be dead. So why not risk everything now? Why not give everything while there's still time? Why not live with intensity, with purpose, with fire, while you still can? Worst case, you try, you fight, you give everything, and you die. So what? You won't care because you'll be dead. Best case, you try, you fight, you give everything, and you win. And when you reach the end, you look back and see no regret, no what if. You see a life lived with everything. You see battles fought. You see Christ's blood running through your veins, giving you strength to continue when everyone else quit. There's no luck in this. There's no chance. There's preparation. There's work. There's discipline. Because luck only shows up after you've already broken yourself working. Luck appears when you've already put in so much sweat, so much sacrifice, so much dedication, that the universe has no choice but to respond. But most people don't get there because they quit before. Because they think luck comes alone. That blessing comes without work. That victory comes without war. It doesn't. It never does. And Jesus never promised it would be easy. He promised it would be possible. He promised he would be with you. He promised the cross would be enough. And it is. The cross is more than enough. But you have to stop looking at the cross as a decorative symbol. You have to look at the cross as the place where your old life died, where your excuses were nailed, where your weakness was crucified, and where your new life began. If you really believe, if you really have that voice inside you saying you were made for more, if you really feel there's something greater waiting for you, then follow that voice, no matter how small it is, no matter how loud the world screams. Follow that voice, because it's God speaking. It's the Holy Spirit guiding. It's Christ calling you back home. Motivation won't take you far, because motivation is emotional. It's temporary. It's weak. Today you have it. Tomorrow you don't. Today you wake up excited. Tomorrow you wake up tired. Motivation doesn't sustain. Motivation doesn't transform. Discipline transforms. And discipline is doing what you hate to do as if you loved doing it. It's getting up when everything in you screams to stay down. It's training when every muscle in your body begs for rest. It's praying when your mind says, God isn't listening. It's continuing when there's no sign of victory, because victory doesn't come at the beginning. It comes in the middle. It comes when you're already broken, when you've already given everything, when you have nothing left to give. And then, when you think it's over, God shows up, and he gives you strength where there is no strength. He gives you breath where there is no breath. He lifts you when you can't lift yourself anymore, and you continue, not because you want to, but because he wants to in you. It's easy to quit. It's the easiest thing in the world. Anyone can do that. Anyone can throw in the towel. Anyone can say, I can't take it anymore. Anyone can stop, but few continue. Few persist. Few get up the next day and try again, knowing yesterday amounted to nothing. Knowing today might be the same, but trying anyway. Because that's what separates the weak from the strong. Not talent, not luck, persistence. The holy stubbornness of not stopping until God says to stop. You want to know how bad you want this? Do you want it like you want to breathe? Like you want to live? Like you want to survive? Because if you don't want it like that, you'll quit. You'll stop at the first obstacle, at the first no, at the first failure, and you'll say you tried, but you didn't try. You just showed up. David trying was going against Goliath. Peter trying was stepping out of the boat. Paul trying was getting beaten and still preaching. Jesus trying was carrying the cross to the end. You're tired. Great. I want to see what you do when you're tired. I want to see if you get up or if you quit. Because anyone gets up when they're rested. Anyone runs when they're motivated. But who gets up when they're destroyed? Who runs when their legs won't respond anymore? Who continues when there's no logical reason to continue? Those who understand that this is you against you. There are no hacks, bro. It's you against you. And if you misunderstand that, you have a real problem. You wake up and immediately get to work. Your mind is in action. No one wants to do, no one. And I don't blame them. But don't be mad when you're lying there in your bed and you're in the hospital and you're 70, 80, 90 years old thinking, I feel like I didn't do something. Because you didn't. You didn't do anything. You may live the great life, man, but you'll always feel empty inside. The life you want is on the other side of a few hard conversations, and you're living a life you hate because you're too afraid to have them. Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. We are now around soft men and hard times. There's a moment when every boy realizes no one's coming to save him, and that's when he becomes a man. And some boys never get there and stay children forever. You should be a monster. You should be ruthlessly ambitious and then learn how to control it. It's that old expression. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. You don't care how good you are at anything. If you don't have discipline, you ain't nobody. Nothing without discipline, because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline. Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. That is the foundation. I'm going to have setbacks, I know. But if I'm feeling bad, that doesn't mean I'm doing bad. That doesn't mean I am bad. That doesn't mean I can't still take some action. Because nothing changes if nothing changes, man. It's time to get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk. Get off the podcast. Don't be on social media too much. Cut out all the noise. Get back to the mental warfare. One of the strongest mental frames that has gotten me through my hardest times is thinking, this will be the story that I will one day tell. And that means the harder it is, the bigger the dragon, the more epic the story. And by consequence, the more epic the hero. The fear is never reaching your potential. That's it. Always falling short. Always quitting before you're done. Always procrastinating. Always not doing the right thing. And then one day, you're an old man. And you look back and go, God, I could have been great. I could have been great. It's time to stay focused. It's time to decide. Forget clubs. Forget partying. Forget trying to fit in and socialize and rub elbows with everybody so people can stop calling you weird. Why are you so antisocial? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you staying on the basketball court so much? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you out there practicing in the hot sun when ain't nobody else out there? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you not clubbing? Like every time I text you and invite you to go do something fun and cool, you're always studying. Because I'm trying to get it. Let me tell you something, homie. These women ain't going nowhere. These clubs, these parties, all this stuff ain't going nowhere. The more weird you are is a reflection of how committed you are to focusing on your craft, molding and shaping and developing your ideas and your skills, so that when it's time for you to make your rounds, you're going to fly. People only root for people who don't need it. Like the amount of times when I was on my lonely path, where I was too different from the friends that I had, but not successful enough to be friends with the people that I wanted to be friends with. That's when you want people to root for you. That's when you want people to support you. Once you've already won, people are like, he's amazing, he's so good. But like, that's the time when you need it the least. And so you always have to be the person who roots for you before everyone else does. And it's usually a single clap in the auditorium for a very long period of time. It is a slow clap that's just you rooting for you. And that visual, I think, is one that you can kind of take, because it is. People struggle to do things alone. And the path of the exceptional person is one of an exception, which means that you are not with other people. And rather than fighting that or moaning about it, see it as an indicator that you're on the right path. Because if everyone else were cheering you on, then it means you're not in the right place. Because it means you're just like everyone else. And that's not where you want to be. Life isn't fair at all. At all. So what are you going to do about it? I knew that no one was coming back to help me. No one was going to miracle me to be somebody special. So mentality is the only thing that gets us through life. I was an underdog. We are all underdogs in life. Even the baddest person in the world should think that way. You should always have an I've never arrived mentality and a can't hurt me mentality. It doesn't matter where you come from, the sewer, or wherever you think you're from. When I got out of the sewer, I got to the road and looked around and said, can't hurt me. Nothing should be able to hurt you if you believe that. It starts to become true. Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrifice and some blood. There comes a day, man, everyone's going to have this. There comes a day where being average, being mediocre, is just sickening to you. It's just sickening. It makes you want to throw up. Because you've seen people with far less talent than you, as you're growing up with them, childhood buddies, whatever else. They didn't have what you had, yet now they've become something that you haven't. There comes that day. It's either when you're young and it strikes you on the baseball field because you're sick of striking out, or it's when you get fired from your 5th job and your wife and kids are on your case because you don't know how to support them anymore. There comes a day where push comes to shove, where being mediocre, being average, just burns. It sucks so much you can't deal with it one more day, and you get off your ass and you create something. It's always been there. It's always been inside of you trying to come out, but you've never wanted to unwrap it because it's too much pain and commitment. I'm a big fan of power follows the blame finger, so wherever you point the blame finger is where the power follows. If you point it to the government, government has the power. If you point it at your spouse and say it's their fault that I'm not in shape, it's their fault they never let me do anything, well, you're giving them all the power. And so it's like, until you're like, it's my fault, it also becomes your responsibility. What if it's not your fault? It doesn't matter. Like, I can't run marathons because I lost my leg at birth. Either you can just never try, or you put the metal thing on and you do it anyway. Christ didn't come to make you comfortable. He came to make you complete. He came to take the broken pieces of who you are and rebuild you into something the enemy can't touch, something hell can't shake, something death can't hold. But you have to surrender. You have to let go of the old. You have to nail it to the cross with him. And when you do, when you truly give him everything, he gives you everything back. Not the same, better, stronger, holy. This ain't you, bro. This weak version, this compromised version, this scared version. That's not who God made. He made a warrior. He made a conqueror. He made someone who walks in his authority because his blood runs through your veins. So stop living beneath the cross. Stop living like the resurrection didn't happen. Stop living like you're still dead when Christ already raised you. Get up. Stand up. Fight. Not in your own strength, in his. With his name on your lips and his fire in your heart. Because you weren't born for this. You were born for glory, for victory, for eternity. And it starts now. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. This is you. The real you. The one Christ died for. The one he's calling forward. So answer, rise, and never look back.